Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 69, dudes. My name is Evan Lewis, and I'm joined by Leo Andry.
Yes.
And Joe Latovsky.
Yes.
Wow, this is what we're in for tonight, huh? All right.
Yes.
Well, let's... I can't tell if that was like a laugh or a wheeze or a cough or what that was, but sure, let's go with it. But oh my goodness, quality programming.
Some quality H2O right there.
Well, I know some other people who enjoy high quality H2O, and that's our patrons over at patreon.com/thejodocast. They are the best people. They love water, and we couldn't do this without them.
Most of our patrons are fish.
So we thank them for, climbing out of the water occasionally to help us out and keep the show going. They're the best group of humans and fish humans, fish people, murlocs, in fact.
I mean, they could be.
It's, you know what? We're not judging.
We don't have to submit
really,
proof of species.
there's a lot of them we haven't met in person, so I mean...
It's true. I hold nothing against Murlocs. I needed a Murloc Paladin deck to beat Arthas on Hearthstone. So, love for Murlocs here at the JodoCast. And patrons, if you are a Murloc, keep it up. And if you're a human being who would like more information about what our Patreon is all about, what we do to say thank you, and what you can do to help us, patreon.com/thejodocast. You are awesome, all of you. And we have another major announcement to make. And I'm going to turn this one over to Leo.
We got a store?
Real ribbon cutting speech there. Yes. Okay, fine.
That's what you get for turning it over to me, man. You should have known what you were going to get.
You're the opposite of a box of chocolates, Leo.
You get the same damn thing every time, whether you like it or not.
I'm sure Joe can do this much better. I should just have asked him to begin with. I've learned my lesson.
No. So, yeah.
Sorry, Joe.
Talk.
All right.
That guy. No, so we've had it kind of in the works for a while now, and but we've added a store now to the webpage. I think you've probably heard us talk about some of the custom art, alternate art cards that we've made and given out as gifts to patrons and stuff like that. And we've given out a few as prizes here and there to some of our listeners. But if you hadn't had a chance, either if you missed out of something as a patron, or you never won it on a contest but you still wanted to get one of these alternate art cards, you can get those through the store on our website. Same with, we have JodoCast art playmats, a playmat, more to come in the future probably. And then always the same shirts and stuff that we've been running for a while are available through there as well. Is that a little better, Evan? I think I lost my connection.
I'm here.
And I was on mute because I didn't want to interrupt you with, coughing and slurping drinking noises, because that'd be unprofessional. But yes, that was wonderful, Leo. We appreciate your efforts.
Yeah.
Even if it was all because you just wanted to not give Joe any spotlight.
There you go. I've efforted all the effort I'm going to give this episode, so
that's it. So okay, Joe. Let's get cracking on this.
So now the rest of this episode is just going to be like the audio equivalent of shit posting from me. So
wow, you're
shit potting.
You're already making this editing job so much better. Thank you so much for this. This is wonderful. It's going to be like that first episode of C-Lab. All right. Well, since...
So then I beeped her to beep. Yeah, but that's
Don't talk
cool,
about your mom that way.
That's legal in Tijuana.
Oh, gosh. Well, if you have any, like, sliver of effort left to give, how about you give it on what you've been playing?
Nothing.
Fantastic. Not even any Zelda or Mario?
No.
Damn. Okay.
I played Overwatch. Actually, I was supposed to play in a legacy draft here last Friday, but then my store on that Thursday, when all the product dropped, found out that they didn't actually get more than a couple Rivals draft packs, so they didn't have enough to actually really run a draft, and so that got canceled at the last minute, and I was sad.
Wow. Well, I mean, we've certainly got thoughts on that and
So I've
other
just been-
things.
I guess I've just been killing my time, still working on terrain bits for Legion still. So
Again, I'm going to say that's far more of a investment of time and intellect than just going to the store, buying crap, and playing. That's awesome.
you have to use intellect to play the game too.
Right, but I mean, there's no creativity. You are putting more of
you
your...
have to be creative.
I'm
when you build a deck,
complimenting you.
unless you're just
Oh my
a
gosh.
net decker.
Which a lot of people will be. But the point is that you are putting more of yourself into creation than just consumerism. So I applaud you for that. Now shut up.
Legion is going to be a full-time job. Jesus. Between painting all these damn minis and then the terrain I'm creating, so I'm right now I'm making bits of scattered terrain that are just like normal, like your generic like grassy grass and rocks and trees and sorry.
No, you're not.
But I eventually want to do like some Felucian scattered terrain too. Once I've kind of learned a bit more about making terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also like to build like a full table too, like a static 3x6 board with, some cool structures. Like I've seen some really cool boards that have like like the Endor bunker built into one end of the table. This one I've seen, he's got like the last like foot or so of his table is the Endor bunker, and then you can actually pull the top of the hill off, and they have the interior of the bunker in there too. It's a really cool table, and it would be really neat to be able to do something like that. But I don't know enough about terrain building yet to take on something quite that ambitious. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be a huge time investment to do like that. Stuff like that.
Good save. Well, that sounds pretty awesome to me. Okay, so I assume that's it.
That's it.
Okay. Sweet. Joe.
You managed to coax a little more effort out of it.
See? You had it in you. It was inside you the whole time.
I've been playing quite a bit of Battlefront 2 lately, and then we actually did put up a new video of you and I and two others playing Battlefront 2, Heroes vs. Villains specifically, which was a lot of fun playing.
That was a fun
together.
one.
And we have you on record saying, this is pretty good, I'm enjoying this, or something like that. Even if the rest of the video...
I had,
when I edit those videos, I notice maybe 60% of the words you say is, this is garbage, or that was garbage. The word garbage happens a lot.
Well... yeah, it's true. It
playing
does.
Battlefront, got in the game of Rebellion over the weekend, the 4-player first time I've done 4-player Rebellion, and that was actually more fun than I thought. Because
so it was just for people who might not know how it works. It's just 2v2,
yeah,
right?
I mean, it's essentially a 2-player game, but when you make it 4-player, it just kind of divvies up some responsibilities between two people. I mean, it's really just, you're on a team, but it was still fun anyways, because when you can kind of strategize with your teammate, and when you do good or bad, you can have someone to share that with, which I thought was pretty fun. And I played some Destiny, because I went out for a draft event, because I decided that I'm kind of burnt out on Destiny already, but I would keep trying like the draft and those type of things. So I went out for that, and I think there's 7 board game stores in Tucson now, and there's like only one that has an active Destiny community anymore, as far as I can tell. And they were holding it, and I went there, and everyone was getting their new stuff, and I didn't see any of the Rivals packs, and I'm like, wait, you're holding a draft event, but you don't have the draft kits? And he was like, no, we didn't get those. But
oh, gosh.
Instead of just canceling the event, they decided to just do a sealed thing where you got one of the new starters in 8 packs.
Ooh.
And made a deck out of that without... And it was like there's no limit to a maximum of 2 per card in your deck. There's no and any you don't. Heroes and villains didn't matter for building, and any color mentions were ignored.
Right.
So
yeah, I wish we could have done something.
So that was
like
at first I
That's
was
a great
like,
way to do
I
sealed.
drove all the way across town to play in a draft thing, and you guys don't even have it. And I was kind of mad. And then they're like, "Oh, but we're doing this instead." I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess you saved it, because it's not your fault you didn't get Rivals." And it was pretty fun. It was 4 rounds. I ended up playing with Boba and the Stormtrooper out of the core set, and I pulled a Mother Talzin, so I had her as well, which was exactly 30 character points, which is pretty good. And I have mixed feelings on the format, but it was fun playing against things that were clearly, not optimized and at home ahead of time, you know what I mean? Like, there can't be like meta in that sort of event, and I liked that. The only thing that was weird is breaking all the rules felt
yeah,
like you were kind of ruining the game, and it wasn't as fair. But I don't know, it was still fun, and I went 3-1, and there wasn't, the only prizes were just for every win you got a free pack, and I pulled a Finn out of one of those free packs I got. So
oh, hey, nice.
That's what I've been playing.
Finn 2 for people who are scratching their heads.
Yeah.
Cool. I had been playing Battlefront 2, as you said. So you kind of covered that. Let's see, what did I do? I picked up, let's see, last week. Was it last week? Geez, how long ago was it now? I don't remember when I got the last LCG pack, because that came out, and then they announced that it was dying, and picked up the Luke starter yesterday, and I have some thoughts on that coming up. I have not gotten to play any, just not been at the right place at the right time to be able to get any organized play-in, but with more and more of my local friends discovering it as I've been exposing them to it, hopefully we'll be able to do more, and maybe if I can coax some people into doing videos, we'll get some play videos out there too. And
just don't try to monetize those videos.
Oh, heavens no.
Yeah.
You can't.
Unless all of you listening go run out and subscribe to our YouTube channel real quick and get us up to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be removed as a YouTube partner. Because of lots of different stuff. Mostly, it's all dumb and it's annoying. It's just, what's particularly annoying to me is people have been watching ads on our videos for no reason because we haven't been paid for those ads that people watched, and that money's now just never going to come to us. And so Google essentially just stole from us and used us to get people to watch ads, and it now won't end up paying us for it. Unless everybody runs out and subscribes, gets all their friends to subscribe.
I told you, Joe. That's what happens when we kind of started doing it. Joe's policy was to never tell people to like, comment, and subscribe at the end of a YouTube video, like all the other YouTubers
Just
do.
smash
that button
and hit the little bell.
So now Joe's ruined our YouTube channel for us. I hope you're happy, Joe.
I'm not really. We'll just have to get an army of bots to go subscribe for us. I think we only need about 400 some.
I think it was it was somewhere between 400 and 500.
Mm-hmm. Because we
So
were
anybody
meeting the
wants
other
to go make a whole lot of fake
because
accounts.
the
and
requirements were
subscribe.
like 4,000 hours in a year of view time, and we're past that because our videos are pretty long, and apparently people like to sit through them. So, but oh well. Or you could just not, and then we'll be demonetized, and then you absolutely won't have to watch ads on our channel anymore. So.
There you go. It's ad-free. Hooray.
I mean, if you've
So
been
there-
using
it's a-
ad blocker,
it's a win for somebody.
Yeah, if you've been using ad blocker, thanks, because then I haven't wasted your time.
Okay, well, one diatribe later, that's what we've been playing. I think we're going to have more diatribes and probably some not too happy talk coming up, because we're going to talk about our evolving thoughts and feelings on the Destiny scene, as we've kind of alluded to.
That's how I feel. That's what I think. How do you feel?
I'm lost. Okay.
No, it's okay. No, whenever somebody talks about feelings, the very first thing I think of is Stargate SG-1 episode, Window of Opportunity. That's the episode that's basically like Groundhog's Day, where a Jack O'Neill and
two L's
and Teal'c keep living through this time loop over and over and over again, and every time O'Neill's loop starts over, it starts with Daniel Jackson saying to him, "That's how I feel. What do you think?"
Oh, when they're in the meeting?
No, what they're eating lunch together.
Oh, they're eating lunch. Okay.
And it's like O'Neill is just
Poor Joe.
annoyed the entire episode.
I think Joe was annoyed this entire episode.
Because he has no idea what Daniel Jackson was talking to him about in the first place. So there you go.
All right, everyone should be watching Stargate SG-1, apparently.
I think
All
in the future, just to give the illusion that we are more cohesive than we might be, I'm going to pretend to understand references that I don't understand. I mean, obviously, Evan didn't understand it either because you just spent that whole time explaining it. But I'm gonna.
But then I caught up, or at least I pretended. I pretended to catch up. You'll never know.
See, yeah, he's on the right page.
Yeah. Okay, so Stargate references, Stargate SG-1 references, Babylon 5 references.
Like, this is now JodoCast canon.
Battlestar?
I understand all references.
Excellent.
Nothing goes over my head.
What? You would catch it.
You beat me to it.
For once. All right. Star Wars Destiny. So we've already been kind of voicing a little bit about how we have felt about its future. I think we were all pretty high on it at various points since its initial release. But we've again seen a couple of limited releases, for better or for worse. Rivals came out in a limited release in December.
For worse.
That's
Yeah.
so dumb. It's just dumb. Like, don't. If you can't release it all, just don't release any of it. Unless it's at like
Yeah,
Gen
especially-
Con or something, and you want people to feel special for being at Gen Con.
Yeah, but they were only given what, like 6 out per store. So there's
For
Gen
some
Con, you get
stores,
6.
I don't think any of the stores in town here got it. Maybe they did. I haven't been paying that much attention, but like 6 per store is, yeah, that's ideally the store's community is way more than 6, so you're just boning most of a community, and then 6 people either get to like lord it over everybody else, or sit there and be like, what do I do with this? The store's not going to have events for this until it comes out in earnest.
Yeah, until there's enough people to actually do an event with.
Well,
Yeah,
plus the rules didn't even go into effect until the official release. It was just like, here's a pack of new cards that aren't, organized play legal.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole point was to give people a chance to do the drafts, right? But
Yeah.
but like I said, they most stores, it seems like, got such a small quantity that there wasn't enough to go around to really do a draft event at all.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly not.
They were
That.
stupid.
Yeah. Well, and then we just had another limited release of the new Legacies set, which includes the new Luke starter, the Boba starter, and boosters. And I've read on Discord and Reddit lots of complaints, not just of the amount being shipped, but printing errors, quality issues. Like
Yeah,
the one that I bought, I was just looking in the window at the bottom, and the Falcon die was all dinged up. It's like,
Yeah, I
what?
saw
How did
someone
this get
tweet
out?
A picture of one of their dice, and there was like a hole in the middle of the art on one of the sides.
Oh, I think I
Like
saw
they
that
just
one.
showed
Yeah.
through, and it's like, I recall when they announced this game, we were all like, "That's dumb." They put stickers on dice, and like the big part of their marketing when this game came out was these are heat pressed images. It's a new thing. They don't have all these issues that you guys are worrying about. They're really cool. And then the game came out, and we were like, "Yeah, they are. These are they work great, and these dice weren't anything to worry about." And now, in this wave, we're seeing that these issues they said weren't going to be a problem are happening.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen stuff, lots of posts of people getting, like only 5 legendaries in a box, or really weird distribution of their legendaries. Like they open up their box and 4 or 5 of the 6 legendaries are all the same card, and just, I don't know, strange things like that. That it seems like, Empire at War and Spirit of Rebellion didn't really seem to have, like, there were a few issues when Awakenings first came out, but it seemed like in the last 2 sets they had kind of ironed out a lot of the problems, and now they're sort of back again.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they seem worse than before.
Like, maybe they lowered their standards to try and get them out faster because they're like, crap, we still have these dumb distribution issues. And their other games don't seem to have these distribution issues, but maybe their other games aren't in as high demand. I don't know. It's just kind of a mixture of bad things around this release.
Yeah, I just wish I wish they would have just held off releasing until they had enough to, like, actually. Although, I mean, still, like, quantities aren't other than the Rivals packs, but for, like, the actual booster boxes, quantities don't seem to be nearly as limited as, say, like, when Awakenings first hit and stuff. But it's still really weird how they, like you said, they did this sort of limited release now, and then the full release, official release, happens here February 1st.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I went to my store yesterday to get the starter. They only had the one starter remaining, but they had pretty much what looked like an entire box of boosters.
Yeah, that's the same situation with my stores. Like all the starters, like basically their entire stock of starters that they got was gone almost right away. But they still had boosters, but yeah, no starters, or very few starters.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I guess there was one more production side point that I wanted to bring up. It's not the first time that demand has so grossly outweighed supply. X-Wing Wave 1 and I think even Wave 2 were pretty bad about availability, but they never did like the slow trickle, and there was never like the quality issues that we're seeing with this run. So it's just, I don't know, maybe it's a different group that they're working with to produce the dice, because it seems like that's the hard part. I don't know.
I know back in Awakenings, I know they said that's what was causing all the delays and issues was the dice, and I imagine it's the same thing here again.
Well, moving on from production side thoughts, let's talk about the game itself, the health of the game, and what the increasing size of the card pool and the evolving meta mean for how we play. Because we've only been playing with 1 to 3 sets up until now. Now we have a full-blown new set of a new cycle. What does this mean for us, well, each of us individually, in terms of how we're going to go forward, both with purchasing and playing, if anything, if any change?
Well, I mean, I think we mentioned this before, but I mean, I feel like now that drafting is an option, whenever my store finally gets their Rivals boxes and I can draft, that is, I think that's what I'm going to do here. I didn't actually end up buying any Legacies booster boxes at all here, partially because I already dumped a big pile of cash into Legion pre-orders. Mm-hmm. But also just because I mostly want to play draft, I think. Draft and then I'll probably do some casual events here and there that are in the the Infinities format, where it's just kind of everything.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm just not as interested in like the trilogy and standard formats. Mm-hmm. So I think it's, for me going forward, I'm probably not going to be playing in a lot of like the actual like FFG organized play events, so like store champs and regionals and stuff like that, because like I said, the trying to stay up to date with the most current meta, and the now evolving card pool, the rotating card pool, it's not the kind of player I am. Mm-hmm. And especially for me, now that I'm going to be devoting time and money into Legion, if Legion had come out, it might be a different story. I might be more willing to do it, but right now, anyways, I'm probably going to be going, and the bulk of my money and time is going to be Legion. So that's why with Destiny, it's pretty much going to be drafting and the occasional like casual infinite format event for me.
What about you, Joe? Same boat?
I would say pretty much I'm exactly in the same boat. Like, literally everything Leo just said, I'm like, yep, I feel the same way.
So
I do think
Evan's all like, how about you, Joe? And Joe's like, ditto.
Draft and like sealed events do sound more appealing to me because you're not going to run into like super weird meta decks. I'd feel better getting stomped because I drew really bad cards and wasn't able to make a cool deck on the spot, rather than like making a deck I wanted to play and then getting beat by somebody who is like net listing or something, because that's just less fun. The draft format sounds more fun. It sounds cheaper because if I only do like one draft event every now and then, that's, not as expensive as buying like 2 boxes. And
yeah, like my local store, they're going to be doing one draft or sealed deck event a month. So
that's good.
So that's so it's going to make the amount of cards I'm getting a lot smaller. But I mean, before like the last set, Empire at War and Spirit of Rebellion, I bought 3-4 boxes of each of those. So I mean, that's a lot of money I sunk into this game.
Yeah, and doing those, if I only do that, I don't really have to care about my collection if I'm not interested in doing like the standard format competitively. I'll still keep my collection. It's not like I'll go to a draft and then throw my stuff away when I'm done, because one of the reasons I am interested in hanging on to this game is it's one of the Star Wars games that my wife plays with me and that she likes. And at this point, all of my favorite characters that I was most interested in are already out, so it's not like I'm like clamoring for new characters. Like if Chopper or Ahsoka was in this set, I'd be real annoyed because I'd be like, I gotta find those ones, but I already got those. So it's,
But I mean, I think it's definitely good for the game that they have these different formats now. Like the getting a rotation going here with the standard format and the trilogy format and everything like that. It's definitely going to be needed going forward as more keep rolling out at this time. And so I'm happy that they're doing it, and I'm excited for the people who are going to be playing that format. It's not for me though.
Yeah, I am excited to see what happens at like Worlds and stuff and see what people are playing there. But I can't. I just don't have any interest in playing that way anymore. Destiny, when it came out, it's always been kind of like the chill, laid-back game that I didn't take super seriously, and I want it to stay that way. And I think just not doing constructed events will be the easiest way to do that, to keep it in my life but not spend that much money or thought on it.
Yeah, I was talking with some people in Discord about just trying to start playing like some different formats. Also, like I know back when I used to play Magic a lot, we used to play this variant of Magic called like a Generals or something like that, where you had 2 teams of 3 players. And one player on each team was like the general, and they sat in the middle on each side of the table, and then to the left and the right of them, of each general, was their 2 lieutenants, right? So you could only attack the opposing player that was sitting next to you. So the opposing lieutenants could attack each other. The leaders couldn't attack each other though, until one of the lieutenants died. Then the general was vulnerable, and then there's just kind of other stuff with some rules with like passing creatures around and spell casting and whatnot. And it made for a really fun, different way to play the game to kind of spice things up. And I was just thinking, like, if there's gonna be similar things we can do with Destiny, just to give you a different ways to play than just a standard 2v2 constructed kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's room for lots of flexibility in Destiny, both, formats and ways to play, and I think the limited scene is going to be every bit as much fun as limited Magic has been. That's been my preferred event for like pre-releases, was sealed, and F&M draft. I don't think I've ever gone to a Magic event for a constructed play.
I always did back when I played Magic. The only like official events I ever went to were sealed decks, like pre-release sealed deck stuff.
Yeah, and it was actually kind of daunting, playing LCG because that was purely constructed, and you knew what the meta was, and there was no getting around it. And I love the fact that we have formats where we are not going to be necessarily facing, the world beaters, that, they won the world championship. But anyways, that's been said.
I wonder if you could do like an LCG draft where you just get like a pack of like objective cards, and you have to try and draft the objectives you want.
Well, that would be interesting. What they had tried? Well, I'm sure you saw. If you're a follower of FFG products, you saw a couple years ago they tried to do draft packs for Game of Thrones First Edition and with Netrunner, and I don't know that those really took hold the way they wanted to. So I don't know. I think that style of game just doesn't lend itself as well as a game with blind packs, which is sad because I think we all kind of universally hate blind packs. At least from my experience, we do.
That's another reason why I'm not so sad to be weaning myself off Destiny, is because when you if I keep buying like this, I probably won't end up with a lot of excess. When I bought like a box or two at a time, you just get stuck with so many dumb cards that you've got 10 of that there's no reasonable way to like get rid of them, and it's such a waste. It's so wasteful. It bugs me.
You do like I saw back in the 90s, some guy took a bunch of his leftover extra common Magic cards and he made like a paper mache dragon out of Magic cards. See, that's what you do. You get creative, Joe.
Oh yeah, you'll get to experience Cardhalla here at Gen Con, where they make giant art structures out of Magic cards.
Oh yeah, I remember I looked at a video of that last year after you were telling me about it.
It's pretty neat. And then
I remember
they smash
spotting even like some CCG cards in it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna have to watch your CCG spending because they're all over the place.
Yeah, that's the one reason Mandy's like is sort of reconsidering not coming to Gen Con with me, because she's like, but if I'm not there, I won't be able to stop you from buying all kinds of.
It's true. That's huh?
Stuff. I said stuff.
Yeah, stuff. Of course, stuff. So we've kind of talked about our views of the game overall, and the last thing. Oh, and if it wasn't clear, I'm kind of in the same boat, but I still like to spend time deck building just as an exercise, and I've already voiced and put out a couple articles about Limited, and I'm going to try to keep that up too, is putting out more articles about the Limited formats and just how they're different, because I think we did get a lot of new CCG players with Destiny, and some people joined up and then fell off when they were like, wait a minute, I'm going to be spending a lot of money on this game. So like the Cube is a great way to still have fun with your cards and not just keep using the same stupid decks over and over. So I'm going to try to keep that up. Let's talk about the Holocron rules that were just released, in which we got two documents. One for, now I'm going to get the names wrong because I don't have it smack in front of me. One is for Trilogy, and the other one is for Help me out.
Standard, I think.
Is that
I think
just
it was
standard? Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, so the point. Let's back this up. The point of these documents is to provide errata and not really rules changes, but clarifications, errata, and I always want to say hero, but character point value changes. And so far, the little bit of overlap between the two is in character point value changes. And they are exactly the same so far, because the only one in the new cycle that's been affected as of now is two-player Phasma. If I'm remembering correctly. If I was a real professional, I'd be looking at it right now, but I'm not. So, but there's the possibility of a lot of other shenanigans. So, if you would like to voice your concerns about this, just so people can understand why we're critical of this kind of document, even if right now, like, okay, it's fine, it makes some sense. What are we afraid is going to happen here?
Okay, so I should preface this by saying that, yeah, the way as it stands right now, the documents are fine. The holocrons are a good resource because they pull out all the pertinent information from the FAQ documents and that you need for that particular format and stick it in one place for you to look rather than having, however long, 10, 15 pages, that the FAQ is to read through. So, I mean, it's good in that, but the only thing that kind of had me a little worried is how they mentioned that in the future we might be seeing different point values in different
Well, not just
formats.
Point values, but just like errata in general.
Yeah, different point values for characters, different errata, different rulings on a per format basis, which, I don't know, seems like that'll kind of be a pain in the ass to keep track of if you're the sort of person who plays in more than one format. But I don't know, like someone else said to me, they said, when I was kind of voicing that concern, they said, look, if it ever gets to the point where they are doing a different errata for different formats, the game is probably in bigger trouble than just that at that point.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know so it's maybe not the biggest thing to really worry about. So, I mean, so that's the future looking pessimism, but for now, if you're playing in those formats, they're a good resource. It's good to have.
With the potential to be super annoying. But good for now.
Yes.
And it's not too dissimilar. We had quite the conversation about this in our Discord. So if you're listening to this and you have not yet joined our Discord server, you can find the link to that at jodocast.com, and we can all discuss this together. But it's not too dissimilar from what we've had in Magic. And we're never going to stop making these Magic parallels just because this is 20-year-old controversy that Destiny is just now wading into. But they've had banned lists and restricted lists in Magic they've got like a half dozen different formats. So it's a thing that has to happen. I think it's good that it's happening now so that we're not 3 years into it and they're like, oh, damn, we need to fix this now. We need to come up with a system to regulate what's getting put together. And I think they're making a lot of good first steps, a lot of good attempts to keep the playing field even. And as much as I hate errata, and I really do hate errata because you have to either know the card intimately, like on a personal level, or constantly have rules at your side to reference it. Because again, I'm going to throw Star Wars CCG under the bus here. It seemed like errata was like the name of the game with that. It was like, oh nope, sorry, that card changed. Like, when? In the rules. Didn't you download it? It's just like, no, I didn't.
That's kind of how I feel X-Wing is these days. You ever look at the FAQ for that game lately?
Oh gosh. No, I have not.
You just gotta get promos for all the errata cards.
Yeah, they do tend to release any cards that are usually really popular that get errata or have a really major errata. They tend to try and release promo versions that have the corrected text on. And all future printings have the corrected text. Because I can't remember if it was something from Alex Davey or whatever, but it sounded like, some reason I remember that FFG's kind of policy towards errata is they really don't ever want to have to like ban products because they don't want people to buy something and then all of a sudden they're not allowed to play with it.
Which makes sense.
Right.
But then they should really try to have a better method. I mean, we've talked about this before, a better method for getting fixed material into people's hands. And there's no silver bullet for that. But they do have a print on demand that they've used for other things in the past. And I know, there's a lot of Lucasfilm stuff, red tape, that they have to go through for that, for the Star Wars stuff specifically. But I'd like to think that they could...
Ideal solution would be you could go on their website, buy a print-on-demand pack, so like once, say, 10 cards have been errataed, you can now buy a pack with the 10 cards that have updated text. And then the next time, once they hit 20 cards, you'll be able to buy a pack that has the next 10 cards or something. Something like that.
I'd be happy with that. Especially,
but I guess I can see why they wouldn't want to do that, especially with something like Destiny, because it's like, what if they,
change them again?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I guess it wouldn't really matter quite as much because all their rare and legendary cards, you also need the dice too. Because I was going to say, what happens if they errata a rare card, and then or a legendary card, and then you go and buy this pack, and you hadn't got that legendary before, but now you do, but you still don't have the dice. So
yeah, it's
not like you're getting a card. So it's still not like you're getting around the randomization system that way. So no, either I also wouldn't mind, and maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you could run like a proxy with the corrected text in a tournament. Maybe
not
you could?
When there's like FFG employees around. A lot of games that have stuff like that, people will make their own custom cards that have the corrected text so they remember it. Nobody cares, but technically the official policy is you can't have like custom made cards like that. Because I remember at Worlds, a lot of people had their own cool custom art cards, and the judges were telling people they had to like put them away or something. Like if I don't know if cameras were around, some business thing, but unless like you're at Worlds or Nationals or something, that is something a lot of people do. I mean, at our store championships over the summer, they were handing out Manaroo cards that had the fixed text on there, which were cut too big, so it was really dumb. But that is, a lot of people do that too. If there's, just find like the subreddit or the forums for whatever game, and you'll probably find someone who has made a custom version of the card with the updated text. In Imperial Assault, a lot of people have made updated cards for like Vader and Han and Chewie and IG-88 because they all have like a separate card that is like, but actually this is what their rules are like. Because they essentially had to, it wasn't an errata, it was more just like a fix, but people have made cards so that all of that text is on one card.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, just find that and print it out. And you can just slide it in the same card sleeve as your official card. And then if anyone has a problem, just pull out your official one. Or tuck the fake one behind their official one.
Interesting. So for future reference, if we make a custom art card, you may or may not be able to use it depending on where you're playing.
You almost certainly will. And just always, this is what I do anyways for my all of my alternate art cards, even the official ones. I have the original card in the same card sleeve with it. Like that's
especially when it's ones like those Orobesh official
right.
ones that are Orobesh. It's like, unless you're somebody like Joe who just has the whole alphabet memorized, it's a pain in the ass.
Well, it still sucks because like I know all the letters, but I have to read them one letter at a time.
It's like that scene on Christmas Story with the decoder ring,
right?
Okay.
And like I do because I have some of my Imperial Assault cards in German. And so, you know, if somebody needs to reference it, I'm not just going to be like, take my word for it. That's what it says. I have the one ready for them. I don't know. I just think it's good practice to keep the original card on hand if you have something besides the original card that you like to use.
Right.
Except, I guess, if you're playing Destiny or the LCG or something, you'll have to have that original card, like, in your box. Because putting two cards in the same sleeve in like a deck that you shuffle isn't going to work.
You could put two cards in all your sleeves then.
Well, that's kind of it for our current thoughts on Destiny, because we did kind of talk about the new cards in pretty good detail when they were just previews, so I guess until we're able to like get them in the field and, you know, see how power actions work and indirect damage and all that, you know, in application better, we'll talk about that further down the line. But yeah, unless we got anything else to talk about, probably wrap this up. I don't want to step on any toes, but either of you got anything else?
Oh, we could talk about Stargate some more.
We could. I'm sure we could.
It's my favorite show.
There you go.
And he understands everything we say about it.
Yeah. He can tell us the difference between Goa'uld and Gould.
I mean, that one episode where they were looking at each other and they were like, I mean, that was a pretty good one.
I think you described about half the episodes. Just half.
Because I've seen more than half of them.
Oh. But you like less than half of them half as well as they deserve. And we're crossing the streams now. I'm sorry. Okay. Clearly, it's time to wrap up. So, if anybody wants to do it, jump on it. Otherwise, I'll take us out. Your choice. Your move.
I'll do it. I haven't done it in a while.
You'll be the Huckleberry?
Patreon is that thing we talk about all the time, because that's where you can go if, like, you read, like...
Joe's a greedy money giver.
Like, you know, if you like, you can like a podcast, but you can like a podcast. If you like us, you can go over to our Patreon and just take a look at what's going on there. Like, $1 is cool. Because that helps us.
It is.
You know, it's not like we're... it's so weird, like, talking about it, because it feels weird. But it helps us keep the lights on, so to speak. All this sort of stuff. It's not, you know... We work hard for you guys. There's a feedback survey on our website. If you go to jodocast.com, there's a feedback survey link at the top of the page, where if you want to let us know what you think, You could do it in any of these other places I'm about to say, or you could take this survey, which gives us valuable information to improve your experience.
We get demographics from it. And statistics.
Also, at jodocast.com, you can visit our new store if you've missed out on some of our alternate art cards, or you want a cool X Happens t-shirt for next time you play Imperial Assault. You can go to our store. If you want to listen to us somewhere else or recommend us to a friend, which would be cool, you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, and our RSS feed. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the JodoCast. You can watch us live on Twitch. Now we're on Mixer, mixer.com/thejodocast. This is where Evan and I are playing Battlefront. If you want to watch us dick around on Battlefront. And we got a bunch of stuff on YouTube, which we talked about earlier. We still have a subreddit, although it's pretty much a ghost town now, but you could still go there.
Does anybody ever go there?
I saw Evan posted something there the other day. You posted a Destiny article, and I upvoted it.
I sure did.
It's like, wow, look at that. Everybody moved out of that ghost town to the big city of our Discord server, which you can find an invite link to on our website. Discord is where it's at. We're always talking about stuff. Weird stuff.
Lots of stuff. There is some weird stuff. And it's not just Star Wars stuff, so don't feel like you got to be an expert to come in and talk about Star Wars stuff. There's non-Star Wars stuff. Just talk about any other video games. You can feel free, or other role-playing games. We're always talking about literally anything at any given time.
Yep. And you can email us at show@jodocast.com, which is the least effective way to get in touch with us.
Who would have thought that, at one point like 20 years ago, that electronic mail is not going to be the best way to get a hold of someone? Like, but it's electronic and it's mail. Like, shut up, Johnny. I don't know who Johnny is, but he needs to shut up.
That's our new outro catchphrase. Shut up, Johnny.
It's going on a t-shirt. So many t-shirt ideas. That's right, Joe hates shirts with words on them, right?
For the most part. That is a general rule of thumb for my fashion. Exceptions being titles of things.
I do have an idea for
like
a shirt
Star
that I think you would
Wars.
wear every day.
I would probably buy or wear the X Happens shirt for events because it seems to be popular and it would be an advertisement of sorts.
If you owned the shirt that you designed, is what you're saying.
Well, I designed it, then Leo redesigned it. So Leo designed it.
He edited it.
It was a team effort.
But, no.
Like everything.
Anytime I see
That's right.
and a lot of Star Wars shirts,
Socialism.
I'm like, that's a cool shirt. If it didn't have that dumb phrase on it, it would be cool. I'm like, oh, that shirt's got a cool art of Darth Vader. Oh, but it also has some dumb line on it, so it's dumb. Just most clothing would be improved without words. No offense to anybody who wears clothes with lots of words on them.
I am literally wearing
that is my personal preference.
The t-shirt I'm wearing right now is one of those this and this and this and this in white on a black background, but it's the words that activate the Winter Soldier.
See, I mean, that's
in
not
Civil
so
War.
bad.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I don't know, the Helvetica list shirts. They're done. They're spent.
Would you rather it was in papyrus?
Well, no, but papyrus.
See, it's a market that we haven't tapped yet, the papyrus market.
We never will.
Somebody, I was
Now,
just...
do you have anything to say about it, art director?
Somebody listening was going, and then Leo said, but we never will, and they went, oh.
Yeah, the art director for Avatar, he probably listens to this, and he was like, they're gonna do it! They're gonna do it! Nope. Not happening, bro. Or was it, what's his face? on SNL. Never mind. I can't remember names right now. Names are unimportant. But what is important, one final thing that listeners can do for us, is to go to places where you can leave us a rating.
Like your local board
iTunes.
game store? You just walk in and go, the JodoCast is okay. And then you walk out.
I don't see anything wrong with this, because then the owners will be like, what? But the Jodo cast? I remember that guy from Legends, and Legends was so much better than what there is now. I have to look this up. I wonder if Comic Store Guy from Simpsons has done anything with Star Wars Legends. They're probably not that hip to it to do something like that. But what I was going to say was that places like iTunes, where you can leave us a review and tell us, us and other people what you like about it, leave a review and bump us up in the standings a little bit, help people see that it's a show that is apparently pretty well liked, at least by a few people. And if there's other places,
7 people who are into us.
at least 7, besides, not counting us 3.
Right.
And
I
Seth.
don't even know if we'd like it, to be honest.
Leo doesn't even listen to it, so he doesn't even know. If
Leo's
there's other
still on the
outlets,
fence about us.
There's a
I would
reason
be
I
too.
don't listen to us.
but because if Google Play Music or Stitcher or anywhere else lets you rate it, please do so. That helps us become more noticed. YouTube would be another great example. Even if you listen to the show on podcast audio format, go to YouTube and give us some likes over there to bump us up there so people know to look for us for their Star Wars gaming needs. Okay, that's it. That's it for me. Anybody else got anything before we get out of here?
Just like to say, that was like the longest
This is the longest outro we've
like
done in a
outro
long time.
ever.
Because they keep getting sidetracked, you wankers.
I blame Joe.
So do I.
Okay.
Oh wait, that's not how that line goes.
Shut up, Johnny.